Hello, if you're looking at the rebroadcast and the one person that's in here, I'm just waiting to get some people in there. Hello, super known. How are we? We are good. How art thou? And people are joining in. All right, well, it's Ask Uncle Birch time. I just, I'm marveling at my new phone right now. The picture quality is just epic right now compared to where it was. I just upgraded my phone today, and I can't do a thing with it. I'm waiting for Facebook to finish loading, and half my programs finished loading, but YouTube loaded pretty quick, so I can use that. Thank you. I went from an 8 to an 11, so there's a lot of new stuff, facial recognition and crap this thing's doing every time. There's stuff new. At the start of the show, I want to thank the folk at Freedom Lampworks on Etsy for our, well, kind of new buy. As you can see, it's gained some color out of use. That's what the glass pipes do. But Freedom Lampworks sent us a new pipe. Noticing them on the air, we were poking our pipe too much to keep it working. So it's a brand new pipe. Thank you, Freedom Lampworks. Go over, check them out. Great prices, great stuff, good glass. As you can see, ours is working just fine. So, those of you that are on my channel, yes, Iron Maiden, you probably already know who I am, why I do this, and all that. You also know that I just started, November 1st, I started my 4th year in a day class of the year. I've got 4 going at the same time right now. And as so happens, I had so many people sign up ahead of time. Usually I don't. Usually people sign up the last minute and the slots get used up. But I've got 3. Class already started, but I'm trying to figure out where exactly the lens is. Should be over here. It's over here. All right, I don't know exactly where to look. Straight ahead. The lens is in the middle. No. Okay, the lens is over here. All right, I don't know. Anyway, I've got 3 slots open still on the November 1st school. So you can still sign up over at Gumroad.com. TCHSKEWL. Still time to get into that class, man. I mean, if you emailed me at whichschool@gmail.com, I can still get you in that way too. But as far as the open slot, because I had more people signing up ahead of time than I had signing up the last minute. I guess it's a good thing. So let's see. I don't think I saw any questions yet. Occult fans talking about something. Canabox. Well, I mean, Canabox might be cool, but Freedom Lampworks sent me a pipe. And it's one of my students, too, so, gotta support them Freedom Lampworks folk. Let's see. Somebody's already asking questions, so clearly some of you already know how to play Ask Uncle Birch. Can you tell us something about the Fool tarot card? Yeah, it's probably not what you think. It's not like Fool in our common language. The Fool is much deeper than that. The Fool is much more spiritual than that. The Fool kind of stumbles through the world and ends up in really cool places, but we don't really know what's on the end of that cliff. We don't know how far down that cliff goes. Could be a small step. I don't know. But the Fool is a journeying card. The Fool, I am told, the Fool is where we get the jokers. The playing cards are based on the tarot, so they have similarities. The reason why we had 2 jokers is there were 2 fools. In the old decks, there were 2 fools. One fool had a full rucksack, and the other fool had an empty rucksack. And this spoke of 2 of the common paths in witchcraft that you could follow. In one, you gathered up your teachings and your lessons and put them in your bag of tricks, your rucksack. And once you filled up your rucksack, you went out into the world to strike your path of witchcraft forward. In the other, you struck out on your path with an empty rucksack and filled it up with the things that you found along the way. These were two very, the two most valid paths of the craft, and the fool represented those. And the emotional support clown to the right of me is raising her hand.
Do you know how to say a rucksack in Russian?
It sounds like it's Russian already.
Rucksack.
Rucksack. See? The little hobo sack on a stick. I don't even know if that's really a rucksack, but I like the word.
That's the name for backpack in Russian. Rucksack.
Yeah. I think it's related to the hobo pack too, but we have a different language. We have
Maybe
a different
that's what their backpacks
term
were.
for. Maybe it was.
It's Russia.
I mean,
Soviet Russia backpacks you.
Backpacks you. Lady Witch said hi, Marta. A few other people said hi, Marta earlier, but I missed it. Yeah. So that just there speaks volumes on the hidden meanings of the Fool card. It's a lot different than just some Foolio in our own language. God, I'm looking at the sky behind me and the plant behind me and the new camera, just like admiring. And apparently this new camera catches things outside the frame. I don't know why that's going to be useful, but it's going to be useful somehow. Every upgrade's useful, but I got to the point where the iPhones have built into them planned obsolescence. And eventually you get to the point where your battery just drains, and it's just your phone is useless. And I was of the belief that it was the operating system updates that did that, and Apple was caught doing that, and it was part of the problem. I never updated my operating system on my iPhone 8, but somehow there's like automatic security updates. They'll put it there anyways, even if you don't update the operating system. I think I eventually got enough of those security updates to just I start my day and put my phone on low battery right away at 100%, and by the time we get out here to read the news, I'm at 50%, which is half a fucking hour really. And I think Mark's the same problem with her iPhone 8. She's always having to charge her phone lately, so I think they got her too. But I think you've actually updated the operating systems, right?
Wait, what was the question?
Were you updating your operating systems when they told you on your iPhone 8? Because I was avoiding it. I'm trying to see if there's a difference between the... I've noticed your battery doesn't last very long these days, and mine was totally fucked.
I don't know.
I kind of thought you were. I kind of thought when you got the updates you were, but I don't know. We don't know. The jury's still out on that, but we're not here to talk about the goddamn iPhone, right? Got it. I got lots more storage capacity, and this is what I use to record my classes and everything, so I'll write it off as a business expense somewhere. Let me just see. Yeah, if you constantly charge it overnight, screws up the battery too. Yeah, I totally do that. I put it in the charger every night. Most things are that way. The other thing that I always piss me off about Apple products is when the battery dies and you plug it in and it still won't turn on. PCs never did that. No Android product does that. Why can't you just immediately turn on when you have a plug in you? I don't know. But enough about that. I'm Uncle Birch. I teach witchcraft. I just started my 4th year in a day course for the year, and I've got more coming. Now I'm gonna probably take a couple months off before I start another year in a day course. I got to get to work on some of the other stuff that I'm doing on Gumroad. I was in the middle of doing witchcraft without Wicca. I just kind of left it hanging at I think 5 classes. So I need to caught up on that. There's a money spells class I gotta do. There's a few things I actually need to find my agenda, and I know there's a few things on my agenda, so I gotta start adding some more classes to Gumroad. But since I was there, I wanted to look really quick. Now let's see. Over here at gumroad.com/witchschool, in addition to my year and day courses, I've got a lot going on here. My old year in a day courses, which, are, I think they're standalones. I mean, if you got the cash and you want to learn, I'd take them both. The stuff I taught in the year in a day course that I used to do is drastically different. I was just reviewing, I was comparing the two. I actually went back and sat down and watched a lot of them. Whole different course. There's so much different things that I'm teaching in the new courses, but way back in the way back, for the millennial witches who like to binge watch shit and don't want to take a year and a day to do anything, I made these available. There's Witch School first half for $150. Witch School second half for $150. That's $300 of a class that, cost you a year of your life and was about $420. There's the Witch School complete course bundle. You can get that whole thing for $250. So you save them $50 if you just get a whole thing and you download it. Now there's other prices for streaming. Some of the classes are not available for streaming, but I had somebody ask a question here the other day. If you want to save a couple bucks and buy one of my classes on the stream option, I think you got 72 hours. So make sure, one person downloaded like the whole year in a day course and a couple other things, or not downloaded, bought them at stream. And it's like, I don't even know, even if you went to sleep or if you didn't sleep, I don't think you could pull that off. So there you go. The complete course bundle is $250. So you can get that whole thing. Now those are downloadable. You own those. They sit on your hard drive for as long as you got the hard drive. You own those. Hopefully you won't pirate those, or I'll find out and do your ass in. But you own them rather than you can save like $10 and you got 72 hours to watch them and no other option. I don't know. I would want to have these on my hard drive. Witchcraft Without Wicca. Let's see. Part 1 was for $15. Part 2 is $19.95. They start to go up. The first one's kind of a little tease. Where Science and Magic Collide for $40. Where I teach harmonic resonance and the use of frequencies to affect, or actually frequencies for use in planetary magic. Frequencies, tone, singing notes, this kind of thing, to vibrate at the frequency of the planet we're working with. And I probably can't say much more about that course, or I'm going to give up the whole damn course. But still, nobody else is teaching that out there. What do we got? The Ultimate Witch School Collection for $15, which is pretty much like almost all of my YouTube shit up to a certain point. Where you can, can download. You can watch it all for free. But if you want to have it on your hard drive and be able to watch it all the time and own it forever, even if I delete some of the videos, you can get that for $15. My God. Spiritual warfare. Let's see. I want to start back on the spiritual warfare. 2, 1. All right. Spiritual Warfare 1. A box for your enemies. That debuted at $20. It's still sitting there at $20. I should probably bump that up by now. That was an introductory price, and sometimes I forget to catch up. Spiritual Warfare 2, Feeding on Your Enemies, $40. And you go there, go to Gumroad.com, click on there. You'll have a little electric boogaloo. You'll have a little description of the course and that kind of stuff. Jesus. So okay, over here Facebook's working, and I got people messaging me right on top of the shit I'm about to read. Get off there, you bastard. The Arts of Magical Warfare live, and that was the thing. $65. My Hexfest lectures on the Art of Magical Warfare, which is from the eventually forthcoming book by the same name that I'll be putting out, but the Art of Magical Warfare live. That was quite a thing. I rarely go and do festivals and teach workshops, and I don't know, I looked at what most other people were teaching at these workshops, and far more sedate, far more so. Matter of fact, when the Catholic Church that was protesting Hexfest did their little propaganda ritual about how evil Hexfest was, they featured the names of 4 workshops. 3 of them were mine, and I almost want to pay this Christian dude to follow me around and say, "Crush the enemy." It was just so epic. I should probably just like link to that video, but I don't think the Catholics too much air. But all of my workshops got mentioned in the Catholic propaganda video against Hexfest, and illustrating why how evil they are. So that was the art of magical warfare, and it was a couple of those. Preparing for battle.
Laying plans.
Oh, laying plans. Wait. Oh no, laying plans, preparing for battle, and crush the enemy. And to hear the Catholic propaganda guys say "crush the enemy," I almost come. I think Marta actually does come every time she plays. One time she was just playing back and forth. I'm sure, yeah, but I could just pay the guy, just follow me down the street, just go and crush the enemy.
I woke up and we were like jumping up and down.
I was just listening to it right when
giddy.
you came out of bed. It was the
so
fucking
giddy.
funniest goddamn thing I ever.
Both of us were like jumping up and down and stuff.
So let's see. Let me get through the list, and then I gotta go grab something to drink. I'll let you stare at the fountain that I didn't turn on.
This beer's kind of funky. Let's try it.
Kind of funky.
It's not my style.
It used to be. Used to like
be
it.
before I ever started drinking Imperial Stout.
Imperial Stouts ruined you for what is this?
Belgian style.
Belgian style. Damn. All right. Well, tough it out, Marta.
What? You're gonna make me drink
Yes, I'm gonna make you suck it down.
vintage spiced ale?
Vintage spiced ale from Trader Joe's.
Dark ale brewed with spices.
Do you hear yourself talking?
Yeah.
Dark ale brewed with spice. That sounds like you. Sounds like they're describing you. Yeah. Yeah. Suck it up, buttercup.
Shut up.
All right.
hate that.
Okay, there's more of the witchcraft with Wicca. I think, I got up to 5. Oh, look, I used our cat in that one. Sabo on the charm spells. On the witchcraft books.
Look like a meth addict?
No, the one where he's sitting on all the witchcraft books on the floor.
Yeah, that's Sabo, the one where he's made me look like a meth addict.
Why? Oh, Sabo made you. I thought you meant here. Okay, I get it. Never mind. Okay, there's all the witch school level ones here today. November 1st, May 1st. Witchcraft, more witchcraft. Oh, the moon's up. Witchcraft without Wicca. The entire first level and advanced witchcraft. That's 2 years and 2 days worth of stuff. For pity. And now again, that's based on my old year and a day courses, and that's my old advanced course. So now after I finish the March of this year and a day's courses, shortly after that, I'll give them a little break. They'll have like their summer break or something like that, and then we'll start the advanced classes. And the advanced classes that I'll be teaching in this session, drastically nothing like that. So I think you'd want them all. Let's see. Oh yeah, I don't even think I gave an option just buying the advanced. Oh no, there it is. Okay, yeah, I broke up the advanced witchcraft into part 1 and part 2, so you can get one at a time if for your budget or whatever. $200 and $200, so $400 for something that costs like $550 or something like that. So you're saving some money. See what I'm saying? Okay, we'll get back to why we're here. We're going to ask Uncle Birch. So you got questions about magic? I got answers. If I don't have answers, well, good, because that means I'm going to go learn something about it. I'll be right back. Anything?
No. A catheter. So I have to go downstairs. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Watching a seasonal change on my camera. Like, this is one of the first videos done in a long time without sunglasses on. Hello, dog. Who's your dog? Azzy. Say hi. Say hi, Azzy. All right, then. Let's see. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss any damn questions. Your protected brother, thank you so much. You've changed my life. Look me up on Facebook. Jacob. All right. I'll try and remember that. I always kind of lose track of these videos until I go back and see what everybody said. Let's see. I saw top half of the black dog. He's kind of black and white. Kind of like us, honey. Yeah. I mean, you're whiter than I am, in the DNA department, as far as spiritually, maybe gray. I don't know. I don't really know any white types. Okay. All right. Let's see. Hello, Sonny. Saw that funny as hell. Well, anything the Catholic Church stands for. Yes, that thing was funny as hell, and I'm kind of thinking of extracting that dude's voice and using it put it in the software for our Wittershin shows, either the daily broadcast or the other one, and let him come threaten to sue me. I once was putting out an oil called Love Potion number 3, and the people who saw fit to come along, decades later after the song and all the that copyrighted the words Love Potion number 9. Well, they contacted me and threatened to sue me. And I said, I think I answered, made this shit upon you 100 times. Sue me, bitches. Never heard from him again. I mean, I was not doing Love Potion number 9. So I think, bad enough that somebody went and copywrote that phrase that they had nothing to fucking do with. Mine was Love Potion number 3. It was like, what? We can't have a love potion with a number on it because you copywrote a fucking love potion with a number? Oh, fuck you. Sue me. I'll make a media circus and make way more money than you'd ever get. Can you imagine that? I'd like to go Facebook Live from trial, broadcast it to all the pagan channels, man. Can you tell us anything interesting about Black Mirror? I may have made one recently. Well, you either made a Black Mirror or you didn't make a Black Mirror. There's no may. There is no try in Black Mirrors. You either do or you don't do. Well, I try to stress for something interesting, but then I realize, you know what? Most of the shit that I know and that I was brought up with, most people don't know. So I'll just tell you what I was brought up with. Mugwort. With most people don't know, so I'll just tell you what I was brought up with. Mugwort. Yeah, get a handful of mugwort, put it in a couple cups of water, boil that, and make it turn into a tea. Let that thing cool down. Yeah, gonna rub that stuff all over the Black Mirror, counterclockwise, because you're opening a portal. Clockwise to close the portal, so you want to keep the mugwort solution nearby. That's one of the things you do with it. But then, this thing, magnifying glass and the full moon. I learned that for the Black Mirror, and I learned that for the crystal ball, and then I turned it to charge all kinds of different stones. And when I did it to a moonstone, it was epic. And I won't even tell you any more about that, but you get yourself a magnifying glass and a full moon and a moonstone and get that little beam of light really as tight as you can on there. You see what I'm talking about. But the same thing with the crystal ball and the Black Mirror. That was how I was taught to charge it. Charge it with focused moonlight and bathe it in mugwort. So you may have made one, huh? Oh, God. camera's in a weird place now. Let's see. Are you a Polero? Do you teach Palo? I am, and I am a Tata. And she's a Yaya. I don't tend to talk about it that much. I even have, I have Poleros on our show on Widdershins, and I don't really bring it up that much because Poleros. It is what it is. There are plenty of good out there, but the majority of what you tend to run into on the internet are the exact reasons that I don't have a whole lot of male friends. I don't like that kind of shit. I don't like peacocking. Okay? I don't like, like a certain level of strife and competition, you have that is part of the male mysteries, but some dudes are just fucking dicks because they have a little dick. And so they're always waving their dick around even though they got a little dick. At any rate, so I'm not that public about it. I don't hide from it either, but I do not teach. I've been a Tata for 3 years now. It's been 3 years now. You've been here a couple years.
Yeah.
Before that,
Probably.
yeah, 3 years or something like that. Okay. Got notifications popping up on my screen. Yeah, I've been a Tata priest for like 3 years, but I don't believe I'm in a position to teach that. What I know of it, I can teach, but there's a lot that we're just left to kind of figure out and interact with others. And the problem is when you interact with the others, sometimes you run into the peacocking and stuff. I've noticed. So I'm not at the point where I'm going to teach that kind of thing, but I'm not ruling it out, and I don't care what the rest of Palo says. If I do decide that I've reached that point where I'm an expert enough on Palo to teach it, I will. Period. I will do videos on Palo when I think I know enough about it to speak on it. I'm not at that place yet. And, really, YouTube came along a lot later, so I was way past my high priesthoods and into my pre-elderhoods before ever I went public and did this kind of shit. So I really knew that shit. Really. I took actually a lot of time, like Palo, in between my initiations to make sure that I want to be called a priest and not have, what it took to be a priest. God, I got this one eyebrow growing out of control right in my face. Ow, hopefully I got it. Not that I have a whole lot of eyebrows to play with, but that one was just messing. I didn't. I took a whole lot of time between priest and high priest because I really wanted to know it, and there was other reasons why I did it. But by the time YouTube came around and stuff, I was an absolute expert on this kind of shit. So I will talk about shit. When I feel like I'm an expert on Palo, I'll talk about Palo. What I do know about Palo, I am an expert in because I experienced it myself without other people's input and maybe even shunning other people's input. This person was saying, I've noticed that Palo's mostly working with tricksters. Well, the trickster in Palo would be the Lucero, which most engayos, which we would call first degree over here, engayos tend to get Lucero, and Lucero. Wow. Well, at least it told me when it disconnected. My old phone didn't do that. Didn't have the same likes, dislikes. Generally the same worship patterns and a lot of the same rituals. The songs do not remain the same. The songs sung to a Lucero and a Legua are different songs from different traditions. Other than that, they have the same preferred color scheme, the same likes and dislikes, and the same general attributes and abilities as each other. Because they originate in Africa, it makes sense that they would have similarities. And then Palo has a similar thing to every Orisha, called by different names, but each one of those has the same color scheme, likes, dislikes, general worship patterns, different songs. In the other traditions, you're crowned to one. In Palo, you're scratched to one. And I think in both of those, it's a blood pact to that thing. I don't know about this one. I don't know if they're making a blood pact, but I imagine they are. They seem to like go through a whole lot over here. Santeria, Ocha, Ifa, all of them. So the trickster, that tends to be the start. But what I've always known about these traditions, whether it be Voodoo, Santeria, Ifa, Ocha, there's another couple names that I'm not pulling out of my brain right now, but the ones that utilize the Orishas, in those traditions, you must go through egregores to do anything with any of them, to discuss anything with any of them, to ask any of them to do anything, whether you're crowned by them or not, or scratched by them or not, you had to go through egregores. And egregores is the trickster. Over here in Palo, same thing. You got your lucero. You got to go through your lucero if you want to talk to any of them. Mine would be Madre de Agua. If I want to talk to her, even though I'm scratched to her, I have a blood pact with her, I got to go through him. And pretty much, it almost is like you're spending most of your time with him. You're kind of like through him addressing her, and somehow she gets it. I don't know how to explain it better, but as you can see, I'm getting better at explaining this kind of shit. So it won't be long before I got my head wrapped around it enough. But before I get there, I want to get better at my Spanish Bantu, and I want to know all the songs. I can fumble my way through a few of the songs because I do not do Spanish Bantu, but I can do that. So I want to get to the point where I can do all of those because those are necessary for the tradition and to be able to express each of the main rituals in a format that can be understood. But I'm absolutely not above doing that. It is forbidden, not allowed to do that, but also you're not allowed to write a book. And several people have written books. You're not allowed to be gay, according to a lot of Palo, and a lot of them are gay. So, they have a lot of, thou shalt nots, but there's plenty of people shelling, and none of nothing seems to be smiting them. So, we'll go with that. All right, well, that was, I guess that's our Palo question. I didn't think I was going to actually answer. Freighter X has a spell in which you collect dirt from specific places. Oh, really? He calls it an Nganga? I'm gonna have to ask him about that. He's my bro. I'm gonna have to know. And I can't follow all of his classes. He doesn't follow all of my classes, but he follows my shit. I follow his shit. We share each other's shit. But he's totally my bro. But that, that is not the proper spelling. It's actually just, take the E off. It looks like E-N-G-A-N, but it's actually just Nganga. A thing that you do with an Nganga, a thing that you do with a lucero, is you do bring them dirts from different places. Matter of fact, there's a certain number of dirts it takes to make a lucero, a certain number of dirts it takes to make each Nganga. Now, I'm not at the point where I know those numbers of dirts, that's why I'm not teaching it. But I do know that exists. Dirt, and then, like with my lucero, I was taught to bring in dirt from the four corners of my property. Bring in dirt from banks, financial institutions, money-making places. Now, they taught me to do that in Palo. Based on that, that's the thing that makes sense everywhere you go. Banks, financial institutions, everywhere there. I'm in Hollywood. I got some dirt from the planter box in front of the Capitol Records building. I get some dirt from the little planters on the way down fucking Hollywood Boulevard, the Walk of Fame. Points of fame. points of fortune. Dirt right next to really famous people's stars on there. I took it to a whole nother level. Nobody ever taught me that in Palo. Nobody ever said it did that. You know, you do the four corners of your property, financial institutions. So I think in a lot of them it's 121 dirts from different places going into the object. I added my own level to it. I was like, here, I'm like, okay, so you're doing the banks for fortune. He's like, well, I want fame and fortune. Okay? And they can go together. You know, the fame's increase, I just need to increase the fortune. And so I definitely, you know, I believe in channeling the energies of Hollywood. And this all money and fame and shit like that. So I'm going to have to ask Trader X about that and what his viewpoint on that. I've been feeding the dirt rum for years now. Okay, wait, let me see if Sonny said anything else. It seems to be related to Palo, but several African traditional religions that do similar things. I mean, they really all have similar things. They just kind of evolve in different places. Like, you know, Palo really isn't Palo in Africa. The roots are in Africa, and that's why they look like the roots of other things, but it doesn't become Palo. You know, Santeria, Ifa, all those other ones I named before, those are African traditional religions. This is kind of a Afro-Cuban traditional religion, I guess. Okay. Anyway, yeah, rum. Well, rum's definitely right for Palo. For some of those other traditions, it's whiskey, other things too. You know, south of the border, tequila comes into play a lot. You know, I was motivated to give Santa Muerte tequila. And it seemed right, made sense. But yeah, but rum's definitely the main thing in Palo, because Palo's Cuban. So we tend to keep some rum around. Does working? God, this the spell involves alcohol. That spell, it, you know, sometimes it involves alcohol. In a lot of the African traditions, you're working with the spirit, and the spirit requires food. And typically the food is alcohol and tobacco. And typically in all of these traditions that we just talked about, the alcohol is sipped into your mouth and then sprayed out of your mouth. So now the alcohol contains the alcohol in your saliva. So now we have a DNA connection to you. But then the other one's more tricky, is the cigar. You know, lighting the cigar, turning the cigar backwards, putting it in your mouth in a fashion that you don't burn your lips or your tongue, and blowing it, shotgunning the cigar onto the object. And yeah, when Marta does it, it's hot as fuck. Sorry. And she's all always in white and stuff. You know, you don't see her in white that much.
At our wedding, I wore white.
Yeah.
Bikini.
Could have just got you. Well, that was more of a Huna thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of cool too. What the fuck am I talking about now? Oh yeah, you give them rum. Yes, rum and tobacco. Rum and tobacco, probably in the fashion that I just described, will work. Some people will bitch at you and say you should be initiated into those traditions for doing anything with those traditions. But, you know, I worked with egregores for decades and never had a problem. I was taught to have some recognition of egregores at the doorway of a business, and I always did. My witch mother did that. She had a candle going. I got one of those little heads. Okay, it turns out when you get a real head, but I worked that thing, man. I sprayed my fucking whiskey on them. I gave them on them all kinds of things, molasses. Every Monday at the doorway of my shop. Never had a problem with them. When I got into Palo, they told me I had to get rid of my egregore. And I still feel bad about it. He was like a buddy of mine, like a friend of mine. He'd been there with me for decades. And I was told to ditch him in the forest. And it did. They just left him. I'm sure somebody found him. Hopefully not some Christians or something like that. But, you know, Lucero became my replacement egregore. And I guess you couldn't have a Lucero and an empty egregore. So that made sense. But regardless what people say, sometimes we are drawn to certain things. And I just say, you know, give the proper respect to the traditions and the spirits that you're drawing from. but a witch fills their bag of tricks with a great many things, and I don't see a reason to stop. The people that holler about cultural appropriation and stuff like that, so the only thing I can do is give the proper respect to those traditions, those spirits, those deities. But the horse left the gate a long time ago. There will be no pure magical tradition, probably anywhere on earth, but definitely not in the melting pot of America. Most especially when peasant traditions and slave traditions had magical components, those people saw fit to interact with each other and exchange those magical components. So with regard to the melting pot of America, the melting pot of magic was huge. It was huge. And people exchanged things. And I could go on all day, every day. Like I was just reading a hoodoo book that we just got the other day. A cultural appropriation. That's not hoodoo. Okay? My mom, my witch mom, practiced, what I would call a hybrid hoodoo. It was like most of the components are hoodoo, but linked up with planetary timings and things. It's a hybrid, adding things that are not hoodoo. But even when I was learning traditional hoodoo, Catherine Ironwood, I was taught to put the key sigils from the Key of Solomon in my mojo bags. Not African, not American. But guess what? Witches have been borrowing from the Keys of Solomon for a very long time, and we at least know that in the late 17 to 1800s, when Charles Leland first started his research in Tuscany, the witches of Italy studying the Keys of Solomon, and another book too, but everybody was borrowing from that book. And now what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to go back and bitch at the hoodoos? No, nobody else seems to give a fuck about that. Strega don't give a fuck about that. I was just talking the other day, last week at Samhain, saying, hey, guess what? If you're practicing Samhain anywhere, Halloween, or any variation of that, you're culturally appropriating the Irish. And guess what? The Irish don't fucking care. None of the Irish are bitching about it. So those horses have left the gate. I would prefer to have arguments about things that we can actually change, do something about. The only thing that I can do about that is give the proper respect to those traditions and to those spirits and those gods and what have you. Let's see if I missed anything here.
I'm taking Azzy to the vet on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
One of his shots expired today.
Okay. What's your view on cloth? Just curious. Well, they're very different things, and I kind of wondering if you're talking about a corn dolly. The other ones, the grass dolls. Is that one? I'm cloth. Cloth is very usable, and you can put a lot of stuff in it. But a thing that I see a lot of confusion in. It doesn't really matter. I'm just kind of I'm a puritanical motherfucker sometimes when it comes to witchcraft. I see a lot of Americans making corn dollies out of corn husks. And corn doesn't mean what you think corn means, because those are British and European traditions. And in the European tradition, the corn grain. So like John Barley corn didn't mean that John Barley had any corn in him. He was the life of the grain.
Did he have barley in him?
Well, yeah. Well, if you look at the song John Barleycorn, they turned him into whiskey. They turned him into bread. They turned him into brandy. I don't know what else.
Good thing he wasn't gluten intolerant.
Well, they hadn't invented the process of making gluten by poisoning the wheat yet.
Okay.
Yeah. That was good though. Almost a touche. What are we talking about? Oh, John Barleycorn. John Barleycorn had nothing to do with maize. Okay, that's an American thing. It exists in England. Wouldn't last long enough to ship it back to England unless maybe they could ship back popcorn. I don't even know. What?
Puff pass, puff
This
pass.
is my. Hello, testing, check.
Slap.
You can't reach.
I think it was better.
God, where are we? Oh shit. Oh, we gotta go soon.
It's dark.
That's the time change, man. Climate change. One of those.
It's so dark.
Let's see. So at any rate, corn dollies were typically made out of wheat, not corn. But now we're here, so I guess it's okay if we make corn. But I just to keep the old knowledge out there, I like to throw it out there. Hello, Uncle Birch and Miss Marta. Great to be here, Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy. We'll go a few more minutes. Then I gotta go do father stuff and stop doing uncle stuff. But we've been doing Ask Uncle Birch. Just talking a bit about the Gumroad classes. We read off all the stuff that I have in there so far, and more coming up. But still, 3 slots left in my November 1st, which school year and a day. So we'll get over there and get those. You better get them quick. I think I encouraged people to sign up ahead of time so much. It worked out. Majority of the signups this time were not the last minute. And the last minute people I only have a certain amount of slots for. But unlimited slots for the people that signed up ahead of time. So very good traffic class, but I still have 3 up in there. So we can still get in. One class has already gone out, but it's supposed to work out that when you sign up, they put out the class that you just missed. So, let's see. What gods and goddesses and egregores do you work with most? Oh, God. 40 plus years, I got too many patron gods and goddesses to keep up with. But let's go with the ones that are egregores. How about that? Score, Scram, Squat. I think Scram's a dude.
There's Sarge.
Sarge is good. Okay, Sarge. Okay, Sarge is good.
Sarge is the one who's like, get up, Megan.
Yeah, it's like a
motivates you to,
drill
like,
sergeant
to do
egregore, like to yell at you and get you out of bed and make you fucking push up the hill when you don't want to anymore. Sarge is good that way. Sometimes we need a drill sergeant. Score. Score is the goddess of finding random things. Be money on the street to a piece of furniture you fucking needed. And you just people leave stuff out. You know, you've got a place in your area where people leave furniture they don't want anymore. Well, if you do that, leave it in the name of Score. And remember Score. And Score will look out for you. And Score will help you find things that you want to find. Sometimes just lying on the street, but sometimes when you're out shopping and that kind of thing. But you make offerings to Score. You give stuff that you don't want, put it out in a free pile somewhere on the street somewhere, in the name of Score. That is the sacrament to Score. Then there's Squat. Squat was an egregore programmed to become a god from its very inception by Isaac Bonowitz and his coven, Berkeley Coven, I think in the 80s. And they made an egregore of parking. Parking was always so difficult. But Squat was programmed to excel. Squat's program was programmed to develop beyond, evolve. It was programmed into it. When I started the first witch store, when I started working at the first witch store in Santa Cruz, the woman there told me this very elaborate story about the great god Squat. Now, the great god Squat existed all the way back to the times of Rome. It would help people find a place to park their chariot. And I laughed. But I didn't need to talk her out of whatever gave her beliefs to make her stuff work. But I read Bonowitz. I knew Bonowitz. I knew the Squat experiment. I had seen Squat evolve my whole life. I remember, every year when they have witches they'll go interview witches around Halloween, and somebody at some shop in the East Village in New York, they were talking about squat. I said, oh my God, look, squat made it all the way across the country. They were talking about when they're looking for a parking spot. Hopefully, they hook the wheel with their hand, with their arm or something like that. Because they do this, they go squat, squat, find us a spot. Squat, squat, find us a spot. And squat worked for them, but still was a god of parking. Time goes on. The book comes out called Urban Primitive that listed several of these deities that I just talked about.
When you taught me that squat was a male egregore, in that book, Urban Primitive, squat is like a large, jolly woman who loves dirty livers.
So
oh my
squat.
God, report of slashing 400 feet away.
Yeah.
It's on my citizen app.
Crazy out there.
See?
Yeah. Squat, transgendered. Wait.
What?
Do I say herself now that it's a woman? Transgendered herself, or did it transgender himself? Because he was a man.
I've never seen transgender used as a verb, so I have no idea how you would say it.
All right. Well, squat became transgender. Squat was programmed to be able to evolve outside of its program. They were very broad. Astronomers believed in experimentation. He was like a mad scientist sometimes. So that one got out the box. And then squat became a woman. A large, loud, vociferous woman that also then became a goddess of housing. She'll find you a place to squat your ass. She's amazingly powerful. I don't want to offend anybody, but sometimes more powerful than our average gods. What else was I going to say? And then also a new sacrament. So there's like bodies on the ground. I hear sirens stopping right there. Oh yeah, squat develops a new sacrament. You tell squat dirty jokes and limericks while you're looking for a parking spot.
I don't
You don't see anything? Huh. And I think, I don't really know any limericks. Marta knows like two or three.
I know the one from, you know the one
Nantucket?
about Nantucket, you know that one.
Okay, well, I kind of know.
Nantucket, and then there's the opera singer one.
An opera singer. But we tell squat dirty jokes and limericks and we get a fucking spot. We're in Hollywood, y'all.
I was in Berkeley, the busiest night, like Friday or Saturday, we're partying in front of a sushi place, and I was telling my friends about doing the limerick and stuff, and they thought I was full of shit. And right after I did the limerick, a car right in front of the restaurant was at a meter pulled out. And my friends all sat down.
Shut up.
Yep.
Sit down. Be humble. I don't want you people reading my palm when I do that. So, let's see. If it's an egregore or spirit, even perhaps some kind of bourbon, God, for lack of the term, would gender even apply? Yeah, I mean, in reality, no. I mean, the thing I like about egregores is it shows us how our ancestors created gods out of the whole of the godhood. We create them by personifying them, giving them faces, giving them genders, giving them likes, giving them dislikes. We pulled this out of the big blob of energy that is the universe, and it's necessary for us as humans to personify things. Do that with them. But doing it in an artificial sense, like egregores, I think it's a learning mechanism to show us how this shit happened, how our ancestors did that. They may have been, a lot of it may have been subconscious, some of it may have been conscious, but this is the thing. We create the gods. God, all that is created us, but then the gods and goddesses and all that, we did that. We did that. Everywhere around the earth, humans engaged in that behavior, and sigil magic teaches us how to do that. Now, goddamn, I'm starting on right now, so the light here is like it's almost dark, and this fucking camera The lighting's been perfect. My other camera, sometimes you get little white blotches. Sometimes you can't see the sky behind you. It'll just be white. It'll shift to blue. It gets annoying, kind of, the color shifting. This, like, it's pretty much just a constant picture. So there's something new in this camera. Nice. All right. Well, when I jump up 3 levels in phone, I expect some extras. So that's cool. Let's see. I was wondering what bourbon god you're working with. I don't know if anybody wants bourbon specifically. We have a lot of hoodoo stuff that wants whiskey. I have Palo stuff that wants rum. Bourbon specifically.
What about it?
I don't think I have any deities that specifically want bourbon.
Isn't bourbon a form of whiskey?
It is. Yeah, never specifically bourbon. I don't know.
Have you looked? Because I can Google
I have not.
Okay.
No, not a real question. Okay, cool. Yeah, damn. I'm just trying to move around and see if the light. Yeah, there's a damn good camera in this fucking new phone. Look at that. Cool. I like this. So we're doing Ask Uncle Birch. We're gonna answer a little bit more. Give my kid a little bit more on the Xbox. It's Friday, and we're doing Ask Uncle Birch. I still have 3 spots open in the November 1st Which School Year Today course. Get over there to gumroad.com/whichschool, WITCHSKEWL. Look for the November 1st class, and you might be able to still sign up for it right now. Get over there, set up an account, sign up for it. Look at all the other stuff I talked about too, or you can, watch the video later. Talk about all the various courses I have on Gumroad. I'm going to do more. And got a friend of mine, Alex, is now an affiliate. Frederick Xavier's still over there. If you have any more questions, we'll see if we have any more. And
I can't find gods that like bourbon.
Google knows no gods that like bourbon.
Well, you know how like in hoodoo you're supposed to anoint stuff with like feed your lodestone or whatever with whiskey?
Yeah.
I think you can use bourbon. Bourbon is a type of whiskey.
So you know what you can see really clearly in the new phone? Way over there, Santa Muerte.
Oh, you know what else I
totally
read?
tell who it is. Yeah.
Bourbon causes the most hangovers.
Bourbon caused the most hangovers. You've had some bourbon lately. Did that happen? Well, take a lot for rushing to get a hangover.
I only get hungover when I dehydrate. I drink enough water.
Do you have any insight into the Wheel of Fortune tarot card?
Oh, that was great about that. How it doesn't mean anything unless it's in a certain.
Yeah, it's a lot of places where the Wheel of Fortune can fall in a reading can be meaningless. It's like it's a game of chance. It's like the answer to your question, before you, behind you, but it's a game of chance. Anything could happen. Wheel of Fortune can mean that. If it's inverted, probably not going to be that good. But so a Wheel of Fortune in front of you, we're in like the Celtic cross kind of thing, a Wheel of Fortune in front of you, or a Wheel of Fortune is the outcome. That can mean a windfall of fortune. But a lot of places where the Wheel of Fortune can fall in a reading is pretty much meaningless. It's like, I don't know, basically. It's like, I don't know, could be anything. So it at least gives you, tarot is never meant to predict the future. It's to predict how the future would go if you don't change anything, and give you hopefully the tools to change some things. So when you have the Wheel of Fortune falling in one of these places, maybe you can do something about that to change the spin of that wheel, as it were. But yeah. Sometimes, when I see the Wheel of Fortune come out, it's, oh God, just give me a straight fucking answer. Especially if I'm doing like a yes or no and the Wheel of Year, or the Wheel of Fortune flying up in there. It's like, oh God, you're just not going to answer me, huh? All right. And then, depending on supporting cards and the cards around it, can lean to what the Wheel of Fortune is actually going to mean. A windfall or a possibility. Right. Just looking at that notification. Let's see. Damn. It's really just holding the lighting. I don't know how. It is good.
It is good.
It is good. I mean, it looks sunny enough here that I could have sunglasses on, but you and I can barely see shit.
So your camera is a poser?
My camera is just a better camera.
It's making it look better than it actually does.
Yeah, we all should have that. All right, so I'm Uncle Birch. We'll answer a couple more. We're answering random questions about witchcraft. I think we actually answered random questions about Palo and egregores, all kinds of stuff now. Do I have any insights into the Hermit card? Yeah, okay, rewind. I gotta repeat myself. That was the first question. Did you ask that question? I don't even remember. Ow! Damn it, Pat, don't sharpen your claws on my leg.
It sharpens them on my forehead.
Yeah, so you're going to have to watch the rebroadcast. I talked extensively about the Hermit card in the beginning of the broadcast. Somebody asked that same question. So I don't. Maybe it was you and you didn't hear the answer. I'm not sure, but quite coincidentally, I've already been answered that question in this broadcast. Let's see. What's your view on density? Oh, destiny. I'm your density.
Is that for me? You're so chivalrous.
Yeah.
Chivalrous.
Yeah. Oh, look at how good that looks on the camera. I mean, it's dark as shit. I can't even see what I'm doing. Oh, I just watched it on the camera. I don't know when it's full. Okay, I'm almost there. A little bit ahead. Ooh, head to the top, baby.
You gave me head.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Hermit card. Okay, you're right. You did ask it. You're right. You asked what the full card. The Hermit card. The Hermit card's much deeper. Much deeper. Hermit card is about it. Deep spiritual wisdom gained by seclusion, reclusion, some other illusions. It's deep. I've always said that I forget which Led Zeppelin album it is that has like they got it's like one of those ones that opens up. You got the Hermit card over here, and when you open up the album, there's this whole city down below that he's shining his lantern on. It's very epic, very epic.
Oh shit! I know that one.
Yeah.
And it was. Houses of the Holy?
I thought it was Houses of the Holy, and if you said House of the Holy, I'm thinking, my Led Zeppelin's a little old, but Led Zeppelin's a little old. You can look it up.
If we both think it's Houses of the Holy,
but it says a lot. The Hermit shines his light upon the darkness and reveals wisdom. There's a lot to the Hermit card. I would say you really got to spend a whole lot of time with the cards. I disagree with the standard meanings
it's not.
of cards. It's not Houses of the Holy.
This is what I pictured, but I thought
that's totally not.
Yeah.
That's Houses of the Holy.
Okay, I'll find it. All right,
you're gonna
find it.
Hermit. We're gonna find it because the inquiring mind want to know.
Okay, that's it.
But yeah, I believe in harnessing your own meanings for each card. Learn kind of the basics. Yeah, that's it. What's the album? Learn the basics of each card, and I really recommend you read through the little booklet that comes with the cards like maybe 3 times and light it on fire. Stick your cards under your pillow. Sleep on them.
It's the Stairway to Heaven guy.
Yeah, it was the Stairway to Heaven album. Yes. Okay, 4. Led Zeppelin 4.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
But he's not on the cover for it.
It's like, it was like one of those open up things they used to do with the album. It's like on the inside, like one side you just got the hermit, and then there's this whole scene that he's looking out over. Yeah, you sleep on your tarot cards. There's also a game that I learned to play a long time ago when I used to work the Renaissance Fair. They were playing this game with tarot cards called The Never-Ending Story. And there's variations on how you play it, but they would like divvy out the cards. Everybody would have a hand. And somebody would take their hand and pick a card out of their hand, place it down, and tell a story based on that card. And you leave the story hanging at a certain point, and the next person picks something out of their hand, lies it down, and adds to the story. And each person does that, and you add to the story. And sometimes you get subplots and side plots all over the place, and eventually you get back to the plot. And but it trains your mind how to come up with other meanings in the cards. We're not in the Never-Ending Story. We're not sticking to the divination meanings of the cards. We're finding imagery within each card that would help us tell a story. Now later, when I would do tarot readings, those stories would be within each card. Those variations that I came up with each one of those times became something that card may speak with, giving that card a whole lot more to say than one sentence for non-inverted and one sentence for inverted. It's like, if I want to read tarot like that, I can just get an app on my fucking iPhone. You know, if I just want to stick to the standard, textbook meanings of the tarot cards, I don't need to be a reader. I've got apps for that, and they'll randomize the fucking cards better than I could shuffle. But any rate, you add to the stories of your cards, and your cards have a lot more to say over time. And then as you read them, there's new things you come up with, and those meanings may pop up in that card again. They may not. The game, The Never-Ending Story with tarot cards, sounds awesome. I have to play it sometime. Yeah, I used to carry, way before I was drinking, I had a thing for double mochas and coffee houses. And hanging out with witches. There was like this coffee house of pretty much all witches in Long Beach, and we'd all end up there, and we'd be up to like fucking 4 in the morning, just caffeined out, playing The Never-Ending Story. And I had a pocket deck that I carried with me just for that. I would not recommend using my divination deck for playing The Never-Ending Story. I had another deck just for that, but those meanings would play into the other cards when I read them down the line. But you need to give your cards more to speak with, give them more language than the textbook.
The one where you tell a story that never ends?
Yeah, it's the one that tells a story that never ends. Yeah. And there's variation. There's another one where you don't have a hand, you just have to pull the top card, throw it down, and through your creativity, you have to make that card fit the story or a subplot off of that story that makes sense. And it's like it's kind of good to start with the having a hand and being able to pick cards, and then having to go off of every random card that comes there makes you bend your brain around it a bit more. Yeah. I am Uncle Birch. I am fascinated by how well my cameras. I thought I was going to have to turn on some lights out here. Apparently not. I mean, I do have a laptop glowing over there that could be part of my lighting, but it hasn't really fluctuated since we got on here. Testing out my new phone, kids. Reminds me of palmistry. Sure, you can learn the lines, but for me, it was something much more in depth. Yes. I was reading a person's energy, his soul, with permission, of course. And the lines were just a focus. Yes! And stick with that. That's a fading art. Palm readers are few and far between, or good palm readers are a minority on this earth, man. Stick with that. Will we learn divination in the class? We do cover it. We do talk about divination. I think, the stuff that I cover about divination will be useful in all types of divination. Ace of Pentacles is well, Pentacles is earth. So earth is, earthy things, and usually, finances for most people. So the Ace of Pentacles is the highest place you can be in that earthly situation or in that financial situation. If it was a financial question, Ace of Pentacles, absolutely epic. What are you emoting about over here?
I was just wondering if we're going to talk about the blades and the wands, because you always think the blades are fire, and I think they're air. And you think wands are air, and I think they're...
Yeah, that's a drastic oversimplification. I recognize that the Golden Dawn either alleged that they had put loopholes into their system, or they put loopholes into their system, and they allegedly switched the meanings of the tarot cards. And in a deck inspired by the Golden Dawn, wands will be fire, blades will be air. In the system I grew up in, the elements associated with the magical tools were fire for blades, air for wands. And the usage of the blade and the wand makes much more sense to me there. The blade is a much more drastic, fiery, it's the weapon. It's a spiritual weapon.
It cuts through air.
It does cut through air.
And the wand is flammable.
Yeah, so you pretty much got to decide, in your craft, are wands associated with air or are wands associated with fire? And if so, there's a deck for you. And, start with the Rider-Waite, and the wands are fire and the blades are air. I use the Witch's Tarot, and in the Witch's Tarot, the blades are fire, and the color scheme tends to be red. And the color scheme for wands tends to be yellow, which is air. So that works for me. There tends to be two main paths in tarot you can go by, and those are the two main variations. You just kind of have to decide what works best for you, or what were you taught in your system. Most people have an elemental association with their tools in their magical system, and your tarot cards should probably match that. But failing that, Rider-Waite is the best deck to start with, because most decks are based off of the Rider-Waite. If you can get good with the Rider-Waite, you'll probably be good with most decks that come down the pipe. I'm not sure about Frederick Xavier's take on that. I would imagine wands are fire and blades are air, because that comes more from the Golden Dawn. The Golden Dawn's ceremonial traditions, and most of the other ceremonial traditions mimic the Golden Dawn. So I don't know what Frederick Xavier does with that, but it's probably a good guess. All right. Well, hell, we're at 74 minutes. I'm gonna do like 3 more questions, and then I gotta go do father stuff and whatnot. I gotta turn on the light so we don't trip over the dog. Let's see if we have any more questions for Ask Uncle Birch. I am seeing nothing. Still more people getting in here, but we're almost finished, kids. What's the views on the Tower card? Well,
Tower card bad.
Yeah, Tower card bad. Okay. Well, the Tower card indicates disaster, but it's going to be where it falls in the spread. It could be that you averted a disaster. It could be that the disaster led you to a different path where you came out victorious. Once upon a time, I lived in this activist house wherein we housed Food Not Bombs, the Industrial Workers of the World, the Coalition to Free Mumia Abu Jamal, Cop Watch, and Free Radio Santa Cruz. the pirate radio station that I co-founded, that's still running to this day under the name Freak Radio at freakradio.org. Kind of like Freak Phil. See, I've been on this thing for a very long time. Let's see, the house had been a problem for the city for a very long time because all of the anti-establishment activism that happened in the city came out of this one house. It's like they really could have just came on the roof, dropped bomb here, and just blew the place up, and the town would have been peacefully run by the establishment, no further problem. We were all in one fucking place. It's a bad idea. But that's also where we housed our pirate radio station. And they condemned the house. And we started a rent strike. And it went on for weeks. Tension was high. They threatened to come and raid the place every day. One day, I was on watch on the rooftop, and I saw a cop in full tactical gear peeking around the corner, and I sounded the alarm. And next thing you know, a whole squad of cops in tactical gear rounded the corner, running right up the fucking sidewalk in front of our fucking house, and hung a left. Went across the street, kicked in the fucking door of the house across the street, which was a fucking speed house apparently. I didn't even fucking know that. But they kind of fucked with us for a long time. Tension was high. When they were finally going to come, a bunch of my housemates decided, well, we're not going peacefully. We're on a legal rent strike, and they can't kick us out without paying us relocation money. Which later, they won that in court, but after going to jail on this one day. So I'm sitting there, I'm an anarchist, I'm a pirate radio operator, I'm all this stuff, but my friends kind of know this, but we really don't talk about it. I'm a witch. They all know that, but we just don't discuss it because they're all in the no gods, no masters thing that anarchists always do. But, my gods were not masters. So anyway, as a witch, some shit's going to happen tomorrow. And I'm going to pull some cards. And I pulled some cards. And sure enough, the tower came out. And the deck I had at the time was the Rider-Waite. But the thing that caught my eye on the tower was not the tower itself, as is usually the case. It was the dude that jumped off the tower before the lightning hit. And there's this tree, and it looks like he's going to be able to grab that tree. And if he can grab that tree, he's going to save him. So he jumped out before the fucking lightning hit, grabs that tree, saves himself. So I meditated on that a bit. I thought, well, they're coming tomorrow. And we know they're coming with all the cops they have. And the FCC is going to be there because they want our pirate radio station. But if you take a pirate radio station and stick it into a vehicle, a whole new bunch of laws applies that can hamper the FCC. Vehicle code and shit. I was a cop once. I knew this shit. So I spent the night taking apart the pirate radio station, installing it into the front seat of a vehicle, putting the mixing board and the microphones and that kind of stuff. It was a truck. It was a pickup truck. I put all that stuff in the bed of the truck. I actually took the antenna that's meant to go on a house and rigged it into the back of this truck with some fucking duct tape and bungee cords. This big old fucking house antenna off of the back of this truck. Now my friends, they're in the house, barricaded, waiting for the people to come, break down the barricades, take them away. I rigged up this thing where they had these walkie-talkies inside the raid, and if they click on the mic, they're immediately on the air through the mixing board. What I'd come up with in my meditation was that, all my friends, they're willing to go to jail tomorrow, and I'm not going to do any good in jail. And if we all go to jail and they actually take our transmitter, we're not going to, once they get out of jail, we're going to have no pirate radio station to bitch about it on. So I did this thing. I was not in the house where the national headlines read, Eviction turns ugly for police. And the headlines alleged that the activists inside the house poured buckets of urine upon the police. It's a much longer story, but it didn't actually happen. But all of those people that were arrested in that raid were blackballed in Santa Cruz. They could not get a rental ever. The landlords were organized in this fucking town.
That's why they never had rent control, because the landlords were organized.
Yeah. I was not arrested. I kept the pirate radio station running. I took the pirate radio station up to an elevated campground that overlooked the city, where if you elevate a transmitter, you broadcast further. That's why we put antennas on high shit. So I took this thing up to this fucking campground, and we kept broadcasting until our friends got out of the jail. We told them where to come, and they came up here, and they all, we all got, the thing stayed on the fucking air. The FCC did not, they tried. They tried to get into the car. They tried to threaten me. And I wouldn't fucking back down. I said, no, the vehicle code says this. You don't have any jurisdiction for this vehicle unless your warrant designates that your warrant's for a vehicle. Your warrant is for that house, 120 Campbell Street. Your warrant's not valid here. Transmitter's not it. You can go bust into 120 Campbell Street, see if you can find a transmitter, but no, this vehicle's a whole different thing. It's like, I knew cop shit. I fucking backed up. If it had not been me standing there, well, first of all, I was the only technician who could pull this off. Like, I was the only one that could build a mobile fucking transmitter and install it into a fucking vehicle. That's kind of why I was there. But I also used to be a cop, and I knew the fucking law. And if it hadn't been me fucking up the FCC's face, it would have been a whole different fucking party. We kept our transmitter, and they didn't take our transmitter for years. And by the time they finally took our transmitter, we had 4 backup transmitters in the fucking storage space. So, long story short, I interpreted the tower card a very different way. And it seems to have been a valid interpretation. My jumping out of the tower before the lightning hit and grabbing that tree on the way down created a whole different scenario than would have existed without it. So that's going to be the last one tonight. Finally, my camera's starting to recognize that it's dark out here, but still, it's not that dark. It's still doing pretty good. But shit, we're here like 83 minutes, people. It's been a great show. It's been a great session with y'all. Good questions. I always love it when I come on my channel. I get much cooler questions than some of the new witch pages that I go on. Thank you for joining us. Get over there to gumroad.com/witch school, WITCHSKEWL, and see all the stuff you could be learning. Your laptop, your tablet, your phone. Whole different world we live in. And one more time, man, thank you to Freedom Lampworks for our free pipe you sent us. Freedom Lampworks over on Etsy. Check them out. Check them out whenever you need a new pipe, or even if you just want to have another pipe. Get over there. Check them out. Thank you for joining us. Bless be.